HTH is brought to you by Magri Moving for all your local, in-state, and interstate moving needs. Whether you need help with packing, junk removal, furniture assembly, object-related moving assistance, or even senior-specific moving needs, Magri Moving has your back. Mention this ad by Hattrick Hockey and they'll knock off 10% from your bill. They can't wait to take your call and set up your next move. Call Magri Moving at 519-991-6097. That's 519-991-6097. Get it done with Magri Moving. What's going on, all you beauts and beauties? Welcome to the Hattrick Hockey Podcast, brought to you by GL Heritage, the official beer of HTH. I am your host, Brett Hedges, along for the ride with one of my favorite guys, Mr. Hockey Google himself, Tristan McGuire. We are missing Anthony Gaudette this week. He's back at work. So it's just me and the kid tonight, and a lot of fun going on across all levels of hockey this past weekend, and we can't wait to get into it with you guys. Of course, before we start the show, follow us on all of our social media outlets. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and make sure you visit our merch link to get all of your HTH fans merchandise needs prior to the holiday season. Of course, that's coming up, and of course, you know, the Christmas music is rocking and rolling. Jingle Bell Rock, I've heard it about 1,000,000 times, rocking around the Christmas tree, and any other Christmas song that you guys love to listen to. And it's been a very busy couple weeks in the world of hockey. So before we get into some of these topics, Tristan, how have you been, and how has hockey been treating you, my friend?
I've been doing very well, and during this time of year, you know, approaching Christmas, hockey is life. You got to think World Juniors are coming up, Winter Olympics are coming up, NHL is in full swing, hockey in general is in full swing. We got junior hockey at all levels. Got to watch a Spitfires game last week. Got to broadcast a Spitfires game as well, which we'll talk about in a moment, and broadcast a couple of 73s games. So hockey's treating me very well. How's life been for you as we approach the holiday season?
It is very busy. Life with three children is as advertised. It is very busy. You know, the kids have school and daycare and all that kind of stuff. So schedules are always intermingling. Of course, I have my broadcasting stuff on the side as well, and my wife coaches competitive cheer as well for North Star Cheer. So we had to go to Guelph in the middle of a snowstorm to go
Seriously?
to a competition. So that was a lot of fun. But we
Oh,
got home, everything was fine.
good.
Recently, it has come to our attention that there is a young boy in the hockey community and the lacrosse community that is unfortunately dealing with a battle with leukemia. His name is Cullen, and Anthony was telling us that he is a player that plays against his son Ethan in their hockey league, and his family, they didn't put this GoFundMe together. The friends of the family have put this together, and so to help with Cullen's battle with leukemia, there is a GoFundMe link that's going to be that's going to be put in this post for anyone that wishes to donate to this cause. Their goal was $55,000, and at the timing of this recording, they've already raised over $47,000 to help this family because they're going back and forth
Awesome.
to London for his treatments. So first and foremost, from all of us at the show, Cullen, we're pulling for you, and everyone that that listens and follows the show and the hockey community, we are all pulling for you, young man. So from the
Yeah, of
bottom of our
course.
hearts, best of luck, and you got a big team behind you, so stick taps to you. That link, of course, will be in the show description, and will be on all of our social media posts. It has already been on the a post that Anthony put on earlier today, and we'll talk about that later in the show too. We'll just recap that as well. So Cullen, and I believe it's the Flood family. We're pulling for you guys, and it takes a village, right? So if you guys are able to donate what you can, if you can't, that's not a problem. Please share the word, share the word that there's some people that could use a helping hand at this time of year, and our thoughts are with you guys. Okay, on to a few other hockey topics. Recently, Tristan, you and I and Anthony got to get together and go to the Cogeco studio, YourTV, and we got to be part of the wraparound coverage of the Windsor Spitfires game against the Saginaw Spirit. And I thought we had a fun time. It seemed like all of our segments went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Pretty entertaining game, even though the Spitfires came up on the losing end. What were your thoughts about the Windsor Spitfires game against Saginaw and getting back in the studio with our new set and hanging out with the Year TV crew once again?
Yeah, well, it was, I don't want to say the performance lacked luster. Like the Spitfires, they looked solid. They
Hmm.
played solid. It's just one of those nights where you don't seem to convert when you need to.
Yeah.
And it was kind of those demoralizing things where, it's three chances one way, one chance the other, and it's in your net. And that, honestly, though, low scoring game all
Yeah.
throughout. Both goaltenders did fantastic. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, like we said, capitalizing on your chances. Windsor unable to do that. They did have numerous power plays.
Especially
Uh,
early.
yeah, right away. But even still, that can kind of affect the momentum through the game. I was talking about that with Jonesy a couple weeks ago on the call, where it's like when you don't allow yourself to get into the ebbs and flow of a game and you go right away to a special teams unit, whether it's power play or PK, that can throw off the dynamic for the rest of the match. I don't know if that did that for the Spitfires, but certainly they seemed a little bit off in that third period when they could have had a much heavier press.
Yeah. So for all of us for the people that weren't there, so this was the game that was on November 22nd. It was Windsor at Saginaw. A couple weeks earlier, me and Ant had done the studio game for them, and Saginaw just kind of just beat them in almost every single way, right? And it was, I believe, it was a 5-2 or 5-2 victory. So this was the rematch of a couple weeks later, but they had played Saginaw the night before and they had beat them 4-1. And they had
Hmm.
gotten onto a good start, and they scored like 20 seconds into the game the day prior to kind of solidify their win. But this was a completely different game because Windsor couldn't capitalize on opportunities on early. They ended up going 0 for 5 on the power play in the game, and they had a number of those power play opportunities in like the first half of the first period. And it was like 8 of the first 10 minutes Windsor was on the power play, and they just couldn't get anything past Saginaw goaltender Stepan Shurigan, who's been fantastic for them this year. And it ended up being Saginaw 1-0 after the first period. And basically, that kind of was the entire kind of was the theme of the game. It was just okay. Windsor's going to pump a couple shots on goal, get a few good chances. Shurigan's there, and as soon as it felt like the game was, he got into his rhythm, there's really nothing that they could do.
Yeah.
Saginaw ended up going up 2-0. Uh, on a goal from Yegor Barabanov, who we had a fun time talking about his roots in California and everything. Carson Woodall makes it 2-1 late in the contest, but it's too little, too late, and Windsor drops that game. But I had a lot of fun with you and Anthony. I thought that our segments were crispy, as we like to
Oh
say.
yeah. That's
Um,
I think that was probably one of my better broadcasts personally speaking, but as a whole it was good that we were all back together as a trifecta
yeah,
and we did a good job. I liked particularly the segment where you allowed me to do a little bit of scouting reporting there when it came to the comparison um for Big Belchets. But aside from that, everything went smooth. It's just the Spits always struggle at the Dow, it seems.
yeah,
I think it's the spirit of Michael Misa haunts that place.
yeah,
Um, and we kind of saw that game though. Yes, Stefan Shurigan. Hats off to him. He
yeah.
stood on his head, did a great job. I don't believe he's NHL drafted.
Not yet,
No, we'll see.
not
Is he an
yet.
oh 06 or an oh 07?
I just clicked off of that game. Let me take a look here.
I'm
But
looking
he
it
was
up.
fantastic.
So he's a 2007. So he could be drafted as a second year.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, I think he has a good chance of it. He put up a 904 last year in the MHL in Russia, which is their second tier junior. Um, and this year playing with the Spirit, he has an 890 and a 3.68, which honestly, that's a high goals against matched with that save percentage. So that tells you that he's facing a lot more high danger chances than he needs to.
Hmm.
And not just that aside, he's 6'5" and 210 pounds. So the size is there. Teams look at that, they like it. He's still relatively young, and he has experience from overseas where they are known to develop goalies well. So I could see him maybe going in the late sixth round potentially, or maybe the seventh round.
Yeah, if the team in front of him starts playing a little bit more consistently, I could see Saginaw getting up further into the standings. Obviously, getting a couple of big wins over Windsor is going to help them, but if they can get Shurigan to give them a consistent effort and only allowing, maybe 2 or 3 goals a game, that team has enough firepower to at least be in a lot of those games. And so they
100%.
could absolutely be a playoff team, and that's someone that we could see Windsor playing in the first round of the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
Windsor didn't have too much time to rest on their laurels because the next day it was the Teddy Bear Toss game, and the Guelph Storm was in town. Yako Wysick, Charlie Paquette, Zach Jovanovski,
Yeah.
some local talent on that team as well. And Windsor ends up winning that game 5-1. Carson Woodall with the Teddy Bear Toss goal, and Teddy Bear Toss game is always fun. It's all those toys go to Sparky's Toy Drive, and it's just something that the whole community kind of buys into. So it was a lot of fun to see a player like Carson Woodall, who is having a fantastic year. He's leading all defensemen in points, scoring a nice goal to make the Teddy Bears reign, and it ends up in a Windsor win 5-1.
Yeah. That was I got watched some of the highlights of that game, and it was a good game from the Spitfires. Like I said, they played really well. When I went and watched the game that followed that on the Wednesday at the WSU Center, they've been playing stellar this year, and they were lived up to the hype when I went and watched as well.
Yeah, this is a high level team, and they're doing very very well. Obviously, some nights they're just gonna run into a team that is 1 goal better than them or a couple goals better than them. But in a 68 game season, they're primed to be 40, 45 wins, like be
Oh,
maybe right
at least,
beyond,
yeah,
yeah, right on the cusp of 50 wins. And so if they drop a game here and there, I don't think everyone's going to go too crazy. But it was a lot of fun. It was good to see them bounce back. Get 2 wins out of
yeah.
3 games in a less than a 48-hour standpoint. I always think that it's crazy that they make them play 3 games back to back to back, especially on those Sunday games. They're always matinee games too. So
That's
it's
absolutely
tough.
ridiculous.
It's tough.
Like these guys are young, but they need time to recover, and I'm just thinking trying to play that kind of schedule,
Hmm.
that's way too constrained. But
Yeah, they're gonna need their BioSteel, and of course, you can get your 20% off your order with
there's the
BioSteel at
plug.
biosteel.ca using the promo code HCH Podcast. There you go, Ant. And of course, you can get 10% off your order of Howie's hockey tape with the same promo code HCH Podcast. I forgot to do that at the beginning of the show. So, on Wednesday, the next Wednesday, that was November 26th, it was Hot Dog Day. Usually Windsor plays on a Thursday night, but with Thursday being the American Thanksgiving holiday, they moved their home game back 1 day, and they had a unique hockey. They had a unique promo there, where it was $1 hot dogs, and one Mr. Tristan McGuire went to that hockey game. What was your experience like at Hot Dog Night, my friend?
All the hot dogs were good. I didn't even know it was hot dog night. Shout out to my friend Matthew. He gave me free tickets from his work, and we went out and enjoyed the game together. It was honestly, as I expected, it was Carter George for
Yeah.
most of the game, just standing on his head. Uh, Actually, Owen Sound scored first, and
Yes.
then Windsor rallied from behind and had a really good third period. And our seats were right behind the Owen Sound bench,
Okay.
and this coach was losing it. Like
Really?
I don't know, he looks like a okay. Nope, I don't know the guy personally, but I would not want to play for him. He looks perpetually ticked off, like constantly, and he kept looking back at the fans, and it's like. This guy's staring like daggers right into my soul, and he was so mad. There was a lady sitting up behind me when they pulled the goalie pretty early, maybe with like 3 minutes left or so, and it gets scored on, and the lady's like, "Hey, pull him again! It worked great the first time." And he heard that, and he turned his head around so fast and just glared. I think he burned a pair of holes right through that plexiglass, but
Yeah,
he was irate.
that's
Um,
funny.
and it kind of surprised me because Owen Sound played really, really well. Like
They're a good team.
fundamentally, their systems are really, really good. They move the puck well, especially on their blue line. And their backup goaltender, he's 6'9".
Yes. They're
He's
one of these
huge.
they're one of the teams that have three goaltenders on their roster and they're rotating them in. So obviously Carter George is the number one, but the other
Yeah.
two guys are like the future and they don't want to send one of them down from what I've heard. And so you're seeing Carter George and these other two goaltenders. I believe they've got evenly split with the first two, but the third goalie's had 5 or 6 games played as well.
So,
So
yeah, Carter George is 6'3", right? So I
yes,
see them in warm-ups. He's skating at center ice, doing his stretches. He stands up. This other goalie goes over to the boards to do his stretches. And I'm sitting with my friend Matt, and I'm like, Carter George is 6'3". How tall is that guy? Like, he's towering. His hips are at the posts. Like, so I'm going to get you this player's name right now. Um, Trenton Bennett is his name.
yes, Bennett.
6'9", 207 pounds. Towers. He's actually 6-1 this year with a 9.02.
Yeah, he's very good. So
He's
it's like
drafted by
okay,
the New Jersey Devils. There you go.
yes. So yeah, George is obviously an LA Kings draft pick. He and Liam Greentree will one day be teammates, unless one of them gets traded or doesn't make it to the show. But yeah, so that's like it's not a dilemma, but it's like okay, like who are you gonna play, the NHL drafted kid or the NHL drafted kid? So um
Yeah, I mean George has earned the net there. He's got 20 games played, 9-8-2 and a 900, which is low for him. But
mhm.
then again, consider that Owen Sound is not the team they were 2, 3 years ago. So
For sure, but they are a very good team.
yeah,
They're one of the
they're
top
doing
teams
really
on the
well.
Western Conference.
Yep.
At the time of this recording, I believe they're leading their division. But this game was very close. Owen Sound was up 1-0 until late in the second period, and then Cole Davis with a beautiful shorthanded goal. And this was one of the
Great goal.
highlights of the season for them so far. Tell us what you saw on that play from Cole Davis, because I believe it was his fourth or fifth shorthanded goal of the year.
It was filth. I was
Yeah.
busy throwing up. I didn't even see it. It was disgusting. He gets the clean breakaway and just completely undressed George, who I don't think he knew what he wanted to do. It seemed like he was going to lean for the poke check, and then he cut
Mhm.
back across, and yeah, just got absolutely exposed. And yeah,
It was uh, it
beautiful.
was
Cole Davis, former LaSalle Viper, kid who walked all the way through the system, and now he's here performing really well. So.
He's doing fantastic, and the one thing that the Spitfires are really leaning on is they've made a line with Davis, AJ Spellacy, and Jean-Christophe
Oh,
Lemieux, and
and
that line has
talking
been
about
doing very well.
Spellacy,
Yeah,
the goal he scored,
yeah,
man, can he fly?
yeah. 17
Oh
seconds into
my
the third, he
gosh.
puts them up for good.
Oh my, I've never really watched him, and I've probably seen three Spitfires game, and he's never really stood out. Mind you, the games I've gone to in the past, they've played really competitive teams who maybe have locked him down, but he just burned everyone. Cut to the inside and scored. Like I was like, oh my Lord, this guy's he's a large man. He's huge,
Mhm.
and just lightning speed like Rupe Hintz.
Yeah, that ended up being Spellecy's seventh goal of the year. Carson Woodall and Cole Davis get assists on that one. And then Anthony Cristoforo scores the empty netter with a minute 13 left to make it a 3-1 win, and Windsor wins over Owen Sound. And they would play them later on they would play them later that week as well. On Friday, the Windsor Spitfires went to Guelph to take on the newly crowned host of the 2027 Memorial Cup, the Guelph
That's
Storm.
right.
They had learned about that in between those two games that they played, and Windsor was up in this contest. They were playing well. Like Guelph actually went up 2-0 early on in this game, and Windsor came back to tie it at the end of the first period. They went up 4-2, and then it was three straight goals from Guelph to take this one. And getting the game winner was former Windsor Spitfire and the centerpiece of the Shane Wright trade all the way back in 2022. Ethan Miedema scores with 112 remaining in that contest. So it was you have a good game against Owen Sound on Wednesday where you come back from being down 1-0 or for 45 minutes or for 35 minutes or so. And then you go up, you play Guelph a few days later, you're up 4-2, and then you kind of not a collapse, but you give up 3 goals in the third period in a
Yeah.
loss and giving up a game-winning goal with just over a minute to go. That's got to hurt for sure.
Yeah, it's a big time. They faltered and they know what they got to work on. It's those third period. It's the same problem as last year.
Yeah.
Just and it's the same problem the Red Wings have in the NHL. You can't play hang on in the third period. That's not a good mentality to have. As soon as you walk out there, you're setting yourself up. You need to try to win, not lose, right?
True.
So
hmm And that would be Windsor's fourth matchup with Owens with Guelph that year, so they are done playing them in the regular season. Would be a fun matchup to see them play against each other in the playoffs, but we will have to wait until the end of the season to see how that goes. It's very funny how sometimes those conference matchups get those games out of the way real early, and then you don't see that team until the playoffs. I don't know. It just kind of seems like an unbalanced schedule there. And the same situation happened the next afternoon, because they went up to Owen Sound to play the Attack again for the second time in 4 days, and
yeah,
the fourth time already this year. This is their last game against Owen Sound prior to the playoffs, and Windsor ends up with a 3-2 victory in that one. It was a fun game. I watched this one while I was putting up the Christmas tree and putting up the decorations with the kids and rearranging the living room and stuff like that. Liam Greentree scores at 6:25 of the first period to give the Spits a 1-0 lead. Wesley Royston scores with 5 minutes left in the first period to tie it up. In the second period, Andrew Robinson and Ethan Garden score goals. Ethan Garden scored his on the power play, his sixth of the year, to give them a 3-1 lead after 2 periods. And they basically, they were in control of that game. Owen Sounds does score with 3.5 minutes left to cut it down to 3-2, but Windsor does everything that they need to do to close out the win there and take a 3-2 victory in that one. I don't have too many thoughts on this game. It was a classic road game for the Spits, kind of grind it out against a good team. It's always a fun environment at the Bayshore Arena in Owen Sound. It's the smallest OHL market, but that team always gets fantastic fan support. So it's good to see, and it's a shame that they're not going to go up there anymore for the rest of the season unless they play in the playoffs.
yeah, for sure.
I'm just seeing if there's any local talent on Owen Sound that I'm missing here, but it doesn't seem like it. So we can
No,
move on. At the time of this recording, the Windsor Spitfires don't play another home game until after this, because they were off after Saturday, and they don't play
right.
until the Thursday. So, thoughts on the Spits, because we're gonna do their games. We're gonna do a bunch of their games starting on December 28th. We got December 28th, January 3rd, January 10th, January 16th, January 17th, and January 24th. So we're gonna be very busy
Well, we're gonna
in
know
the
them like the back of our hand, that's for sure.
Yes, and the one team that we're going to see a couple times during that stretch is the Flint Firebirds, who are in the midst of an 11-game win streak. They're a very hot team right now, and currently they're ranked ahead of the CHLs. They're ranked ahead of the Spitfires in the CHL rankings. Former Leamington Flyers GM Justin Soltz is an assistant coach for that team, so that's kind of
Yeah, that's
our
right.
our local tie-in there. And looking forward to seeing Flint and a couple of other teams during that stretch. Any thoughts about that before we move on to the end?
Well, Spits, they better sharpen their pencil, right? If they got to play Saginaw again. Saginaw's a tough team to play against, obviously on the road. They know they're not that successful.
Yep.
And same with Flint, like you said, 11-game win streak. They're coming in hot. They've got good goaltending this year. Finally, no more Day. He
Yes.
seemed to have been there forever.
Yes.
But yeah, their roster is shaped up really well. Again, no names that fly off the page compared to maybe a couple of years ago, but just a well put together team that knows how to win hockey games.
For sure. In the West Division, Windsor is number one in the division and in the conference with 41 points on 19 wins and 28 games played. Right behind them with 40 points and 19 games won and 27 games played is the Flint Firebirds. So if you guys want to circle a couple of matchups that you guys want to watch this year, I would highly suggest that you circle some Windsor and Flint games because that's going to be a dogfight toward the end of the year. And I don't have any big names off the top of my head that are on that team.
For
Just
who?
for the Firebirds, just because I have.
They have Nathan Aspinall,
That's right. Yes,
who's
he's
really
great.
good. Yeah, he's got almost 40 points in 20 something games. But he's huge. I think he's 6'6" or 6'7".
I think you are correct there. Let
Yeah.
me just take a quick look at the stats before we move on.
And
So
Al
Aspinall is third in the OHL in scoring with 38 points.
and they have another tall kid on that line. Kostov.
Kostov, okay,
Alex Kostov, I think is his name.
and they've got a young man named Jimmy Lombardi, no relation to Amadeus Lombardi,
They
and
got
he has.
Urban Podrakar.
Yeah, Lombardi has 18 goals, and that's third in the OHL as well.
Okay.
Podrakar, that's a good last name.
Yeah.
Like Panophemus. What a name.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I just pulled up the roster as well. Yeah, Urban Podrakar is from Slovenia. Not too many guys from Slovenia.
Luka Doncic is from Slovenia.
That's true. Or is he?
Basketball, yeah, he's from Slovenia.
Not Slovakia?
No, it's Slovenia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
Canada
I've always
played.
thought he was Slovakian, but
Yeah,
or Serbian.
Canada
No, is he
played
not
them.
Serbian?
No, he's Slovenian. Yeah, the Canada played Slovenia in like the World Cup of basketball a couple years ago. That's why I remember that.
Oh. Yeah,
But
and their
one thing,
goaltender Mason Vakari coming out of the woodworks. They got him from Kingston, and he's doing really well this year. So
absolutely, where we got here? Where's our goalie? Oh, Jimmy Lombardi actually leads the OHL in game-winning goals with 5. So that's someone, and a guy named Christopher Thibodeau has 4 game-winning goals for them as well. So those are some big names that we can highlight going forward. And Cole Davis does lead the OHL in shorthanded goals with 4. And the person who Carson Woodall is second in the OHL amongst all players in assists with 27. So Carson's having himself a
attaboy,
fantastic
Woody.
year. He is leading all OHL defensemen in scoring. So stick taps
Beautiful.
to all those players for showing out. We're looking forward to being in the studio early and often during the late December and early January months. So should be a lot of fun. I know that Anson excited to do that.
I'm excited for it. You know why? I got a nice Spitfires quarter zip. I got something different to wear rather than that the YourTV shirt. Everyone's gonna wonder if I'm homeless, and that's all I've got. But
That's okay.
no, I do have other merchandise that I've
Yeah, when
got.
you get the merch, baby, you gotta rep it.
Yeah,
That's fun.
for sure.
Let's move on to the NHL for a few moments before we move over to our PJHL recap, because there's
Yeah,
lots to talk about there, and there's a couple of big names that you wanted to talk about, Tristan. But more so,
oh
before we
for
get into
sure.
those big names, can we just chat about this whole kind of not controversy, but like the fact that this NHL rink, the hockey rink in
Oh,
Italy is
for the
not done
Olympics.
yet, and
It's
they're
not
saying
done
that
yet,
it's
and they're
smaller. It's not even done yet,
yeah,
and they're
and
saying
it's
that
gonna
it's
be
smaller.
small.
So
Yeah.
just what an absolute mismanagement of,
Oh
and
boy.
this shouldn't be a shocker because this happens at almost every Olympics. Like one or two venues are like getting finished as the games start, and like they're still like renovating it as these things are going on, and then it's like, oh wait, it's only a 2 week long event, and then it's
So,
gonna be
but like
done. Like
the IOC prepares these things well in advance.
they've
Like
known since 2019.
so you need to start preparing as soon as you like we actually talked about this in my class. I had a class called the history of the modern Olympic games
Yep.
and it talked about the Olympics since 1900 and it's literally been yeah, you get told well in advance like you just said.
Hmm.
It's been 6 years now. So figure it out. And not only that, you think they'd sharpen the pencil to be, match the standards of international hockey. But it's actually going to be, they're saying it's shorter.
Yeah.
So the length stays the same for both NHL and international. It's just the width that changes.
Yes.
But in this case, it's actually shorter and wider. So it's almost going to be a circle. It's like,
You know what they
But
should
I
do?
think it was only how many feet short? It was only like 5 feet or something. I don't
Yeah,
think it
I
was that.
guess I guess Peter DeBoer was saying that it's about 3 or 4 feet short, but
Yeah.
I mean, you should know the specifications of the rink that you should be
Yeah, how do
building.
you screw that up?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what they
Because it
could
affects
do?
the bend in the corner. Like,
Yeah, could be like squared off corners or something. Know what they should do? Just do it in Leamington. They've got the Olympic size ice there.
that's great. I like that. Yeah, let's
Just do
do
it
it.
in Leamington. Let's just do it there.
Leamington hosts
The
the
Olympics.
the 2032 Olympics.
I'm into it. I love
Yeah.
it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to bring that up because that just blew my mind that they are not even close to being done and that tournament is like 6, 7 weeks away. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's February, right? So it'd be like, no, that's about 8 weeks away.
Yeah. Can you
That's
believe it? Can you believe it? Christmas is literally just over three
three
weeks away.
weeks. 3 weeks
Yeah.
from the time of this recording. It's a lot of fun. Any other big name news that you wanted to talk about in the NHL? I know that
Yes.
last week I was going to make a joke that the Titanic and the Toronto Maple Leafs had something in common with the that they're in trouble when they hit the ice and that they're both at the bottom of the Atlantic. But in the meantime, Toronto has won a couple of games, including a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins that they rattled them pretty good, 7-2. I had a good friend of mine that was in the house for that. He traveled from Windsor to Pittsburgh to go watch that. He's a Leafs fan, and he actually got on the Sportsnet broadcast because he's one of the fans that are like celebrating after the goals, and I thought that was hilarious with beer in hand. Of course, he was having a good time in Pittsburgh, but
Yeah. Well,
the Eastern Conference
it's
seems to be pretty wide open, right, bud?
it's very wide open. There's literally 9 points separating first and last in the Eastern Conference. And that's not a wide margin considering we're, over a third of the way into the season here. So we'll see what comes of this. But Wings are dead middle of that pack. They're sitting at the ninth rate now in the
Yeah,
Eastern Conference, 14, 11, and 2. Dead last is Florida, who's 12, 12, and 1. 500 is dead last. So the Eastern Conference is, they're a juggernaut compared to the West as they stand right now.
yeah, it's wild to think that Florida being the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, they are without Alexander Barkov because he sustained an injury in training camp, and now they're at the bottom of the conference. But they're not even playing that bad. Like
Yeah.
they're like
They're
it's
losing tight games, and it's like, well, I think here I've got the goals differential. They're only a -5 on the goals differential, so they're not getting blown out by any means. And if you
no,
consider that across the fact that they have 12 losses, that pretty much is they're losing 1 goal games,
yeah.
right? Actually, less than a goal games.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll see. I think if you really like the Wings are a -11.
Wow.
That's concerning.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very.
absolutely.
That means they're winning games they shouldn't. I'm a big fan of that stat, actually. It really indicates the Capitals are +21, so they're doing red hot right now. The Canes are +16, and the Lightning are +18. Lightning, hottest team in the league
Interesting.
by far. They started the year, I think they were 5-7-1, and now they're 16-8-2.
Beauty. That's
Think
awesome.
about that.
So they're almost as hot as the
They're,
Colorado
they're on a
Avalanche then.
9-1-1 streak.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then the Avalanche in the West, 19-1-6. That's ridiculous.
That's wild. Yeah, they just did a thing about who was the biggest wagon in hockey right now, and they said, is it Colorado or is it the Brantford Bulldogs in the OHL who have not lost a game in regulation this year? But
Yeah.
just Colorado's just making everyone look mediocre. Like every time that
They
they're
destroy everybody they play.
yeah,
And if they lose, it's in a shootout. And it's like, oh well. They're freaks. They're freaks. Well, they got Marty Necas. That was a fair trade. The Necas trade that sends, him to Carolina and then subsequently he gets flipped um for Stankoven in Dallas. I think that worked out for both Colorado and Dallas more so than it did Carolina. You got to feel for Carolina. Um, they've had a few big names that have left in the past few years. Like, for instance, well, they had Jake Gensel, right? The Jake Gensel
Gensel,
sweep
yep.
takes. He chooses to walk. He signs with Tampa Bay. And of course, Mikko Rantanen doesn't want a long-term extension. He actually signs for cheaper than what Colorado offered him in Dallas. So yeah, a bit of drama there. And he recently has been trying to end people's lives. Have you seen he's got suspended because he buried two guys within like a 3 day span,
Oh wow.
like from behind. And I did not realize Mikko Rantanen is as big as he is. He's 6'4",
Yes.
230 pounds.
Hmm.
Big man. Um, and he was kind of using his weight in a way he shouldn't have. Hurt a
Yeah.
couple of dudes. He hurt Romanov really bad on the
Yeah.
Islanders. We talked about how Patrick Waugh wanted to rip his head off, but
Yes.
um, and he might if he ever got the chance.
That's
Uh,
true. Doctor Overtime might be
that
terminated by the end of the game.
was it today or yesterday that it was night whatever it was 1995. I think it was today. This day 1995, Wings win 11-1,
And
and
they had to
Patrick Waugh
retrade.
skates off, tells team president Mario Tremblay, I think it
Yes.
was, and he goes, "I'm never playing again."
That's wild. You talked about Carolina kind of being the team that gets left out of those players situations there. They seem to
Yeah.
be doing all right because they're tied for first in the entire Eastern Conference. So whatever Rod Brindamore is doing, it must be working. Um, there was one other player in the NHL that you wanted to talk about, a young goaltender named Wallstead. Talk to us about
Oh,
how he has been absolutely killing it.
Jesper Wallstedt turned around the entirety of the Minnesota Wild season.
Hmm.
Like completely. He's 8-0-2 right now. 8-0-2 with a 944 save percentage,
Wow, I haven't heard a number that high in a long time.
a 1.74 goals against. And how about this? In his last 6 starts, 4 shutouts.
That's superhuman.
Yeah, he just shut out Edmonton, one of the highest scoring teams in the league, two of the deadliest weapons in the league on that team, 1-0. He won that game. He is right now, in my opinion, not only is he number one for Vezina, he's number one for Hart. I don't care how many points you put up. Like he's taking a mediocre team in Minnesota, who basically is a one-man army when it comes to Kirill Kaprizov, and just running with it. Just going, you give me a goal, I'll win the game.
Yeah, he's like
That's
Dominic Hasek back in the day.
literally. Except he's a 6'4" Dominic Hasek, and the most technically sound goaltender you'll ever find.
Hmm.
Like he's like Carey Price in just the way he plays, and they call him the wall from St. Paul, or the wall in St. Paul, I should
That's
say.
funny.
Yeah,
I love the wordplay there. I mean, if
yeah.
Connor Hellebuyck can win the Hart and the Vezina with Winnipeg, right? That was last year. Did he win?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
was it? Yeah,
Did
it
he
was
win?
last
He
year. They
won the
won the
Hart as
President's
well.
Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if he can win it, why couldn't Wallstedt, right? Especially if Minnesota ends up being a 2 or 3 seed or even the top four, yeah, absolutely you
Yeah,
could see
they're
that.
third right now in the whole of the
Yes,
NHL. So,
wild.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're only
I
a
see
third
what
of
you
the
did
way.
there, eh?
They're not the North Stars no more, guy. Love those old jerseys though. Butch Goring, bring it on. Love those
Legend. Mike
1990,
Modano,
91.
young Mikey.
Yes, young Mike
Neil
Modano.
Broughton. We're gonna start going down names here.
Um, any other news in the NHL? At the time of this recording, the Detroit Red Wings are third in the Atlantic, well, tied for second in the Atlantic. They just beat the Boston Bruins 5-4 the day before. My dad and my brother-in-law and my nephew went to that game. Detroit won 5-4. I don't have any other notes on that. It's just,
Well, they
win.
almost blew it.
Yeah.
John Gibson. Oh, that's one thing we can talk about. The fact that the Wings have a goaltender in the AHL, Sebastian Cossa, who's also got stats like Wallstedt down there. We drafted him in the first round, 15th overall. He's 6'6". Why are we not playing him? It makes no sense. He's my age. He's 22. 2003 birthday. What are we doing? You've let everyone else young who's proven to be capable play on this roster except Kosa. Well, I don't know what they're afraid of. They gave him a shot last year. He won the one game he played in. So are they afraid he's going to get shelled and like it's going to be a Mike DiPietro situation? Like I don't know. This guy has proven like he's way too good for where he's playing. But maybe that's what they're concerned about, the success of the Grand Rapids Griffins. But at the end of the day, you've got to be more worried about the bigger market, right?
Yeah, I mean they could always send him back down too. Like it's not like he's started his entry level deal yet. Like it's yeah, it's an interesting situation. I hadn't thought about it until you just mentioned it because I didn't realize he was doing that well
Yeah,
in
well,
Grand
I'll tell you right
Rapids.
now, his exact stats, he's 9-1 with a 945.
He had the exact same stats as Wallstedt.
Yeah, but only two shutouts though. He's not that
Only.
inhuman.
But you're bringing up a fantastic point there. When the Wings are 14, 11, and 2, so they're basically 500,
Yeah.
right? And that's good for them for where they've been in the past. But if you want to get a team over the hump, maybe bring in the
You
young
need better
kid.
than that.
But you know what? I think it's probably they're just waiting for one of those guys to go down with injury, and eventually those are old. No, no, no. But like
Yeah,
with
it's gonna
older
happen because
goaltenders, they're
Cam
gonna.
Talbot's
Yeah.
softer than Sharman, but yeah.
But like one of them's gonna go out for 2, 3 weeks with a groin tweak or a leg injury or an upper body thing. Like it's gonna happen over the course of 82 games. Like the kid's gonna get his shot. But I understand why, you might be a little frustrated that they haven't brought him up yet.
Or even honestly, any one of the three goalies in the AHL. If it's not Kosa, who he should be your first choice, they got a guy that they signed actually. For Wings fans who don't know, it's a little bit of a deep lore now. The backup goalie in the AHL, his name's Michael Potsova or Potstova.
Potstava,
Um,
yeah.
he's a 2002 birthday, signed as a free agent from the Czech League, where last year he won the championship
Mm-hmm.
for the Champions League with this team Brno Komecha, and he had a 920 save percentage into 2.3 goals against in 42 games.
That's a
42
big sample
games.
size.
He
Yep.
played two-thirds of the season there, and this year in the AHL, 4-0 with a 936.
Okay, so that we've got some options now here.
Yeah, and one other goaltender. There's another one because as Ant knows, we've signed a million.
Because
A
Trey
6 foot
Augustine's
five,
still at MSU,
six.
correct?
Sorry.
Because Trey Augustine is still in at
Right,
Michigan
he's
State.
he's playing for Michigan State,
Yes.
and Carter Gielander is this other goaltender's name. Not too many people have heard of him. Seventh round pick by the Wings in 2019. He's 24, so a little bit older, but he's 6'5". He split time this year between uh, Toledo, where he had a 3-3-1 record and a 900 save percentage. Toledo's struggling this year, by the way. They're not a very
Yeah.
good club. He got called up to play for the Griffins and is 4-0-1 with a 930.
Wow. So the Griffins are doing very well on in the
Yeah,
AHL.
I think the Griffins have yet to lose in regulation. I think they're on like an all-time heater right now, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry.
Yeah. It
So
remind
in the first 19 games of the season, they're 17-1-1.
Wow. Who's their coach?
Yeah, exactly. Get out of here, Todd McLeod. No, okay.
But like no,
They're
because even it was back in the Mike Babcock days, it was Jeff Blashill that brought the Grand Rapids Griffins to the Calder Cup.
his name is. Oh, I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's okay. Because I hadn't heard the name because I know that
Dan Watson, that's his name.
Dan
Yeah,
Watson.
he was
Okay,
named in 2023 after winning the championship with the Toledo Walleye.
okay.
Yeah,
Because a couple years ago with the Walleye were very good when Kosa was playing there after his first year there. They went deep into the playoffs. Um, Fantastic team. I like it was one of those things that I was like, oh, like we should definitely go to Toledo and catch a game there. They have a nice arena. Like Huntington Place is a nice spot. It's only an hour over the border. Like it's definitely one of those like bucket list things, like minor
yeah.
league tours that I would love to do. Like go see a Mud Hens game in baseball and then go see a a
Walleye game.
walleye game because that used to be the Toledo Storm. I believe was their
Yeah.
ECHL team because a guy from Harrow, Josh Zavitz, used to play there while he was going to med school or something. Maybe he was playing. Yeah, he was going to med school in Buffalo or something, and he was playing for Toledo in the ECHL. Like just a super talented guy. But
No
yeah,
kidding.
so 1/3 of the way through the season, the Red Wings 30 points, 14, 11, and 2. So we've got some hope. And Toronto, after a rough start, they're still not bad. They're not bad. 27 points. They're only 3 points behind the Detroit Red Wings. They're 12, 11, and 3.
Shh, we
But
don't talk about that.
the only thing that I will say is that there's been, the NHL is the internet is full of rumors, and Pete DeBoer does not have a job right now in the NHL. And some people are saying if the Leafs do not play well enough, maybe they'll go and reach out to Pete DeBoer.
The time is now.
Oh,
You gotta make that move now, because this division's only gonna get tougher and tougher as the trade deadline approaches and teams start to make moves on where they want to stand.
hmm,
And if you want to win, Toronto, I don't know. I don't know if Berube's your guy. Has he proven that?
yeah, who knows? Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that as the season goes along. But DeBoer's going to be one of the assistant coaches for Team Canada at the Olympics. So maybe as the Olympics get closer, and he's not an NHL coach, maybe that conversation starts to heat up.
Yeah.
Would be interesting for sure. Would you like to speak about the Provincial Junior Hockey League, my friend?
Yes, let's.
Excellent. Okay. The
Love to.
last time we checked in, the last games that we talked about was November 18th. So we are going to start on November 19th. We've got a couple of games to go here. So bear with me. If you have any thing that you want to add, just stop me after I finish these recaps here.
For sure.
On November 19th, the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks played host to the Walpole Island Wild. Wheatley was up 2-0 after the first period, but ended up having to score late in they were up 2-1 in the third period after Carson Lippert scored for Walpole to make it 2-1. Josh Chauvin scored for the Olmsted Sharks to make it 3-1 with less than a minute to go, and then Walpole scored with 10 seconds left. Carson Lippert once again to make it 3-2. Another close game for the Walpole Island Wild, but no cigar there. Wheatley outshoots them 35-32. And what is it? Adam Flanagan makes 30 saves on 32 shots for the win for Wheatley. And for the Wild, Nicholas Juranian makes 32 saves on 34 shots in the loss there. Big win for Wheatley. They're right around 500, and they're sticking right near the midpoint of the division. We'll talk more about that when we recap the standings. On Thursday, November 20th, did we have a division game? No, it was Friday, pardon me. Friday, November 21st, the Lakeshore Canadiens hosted the Amherstburg Admirals at the Atlas Tube Center there. Amherstburg just didn't have a great effort in this game. Lakeshore outshot the Admirals 33-13.
Ooh.
Lakeshore was up 1-0 after the first. They outshot Amherstburg 14-7 in the first period. Then in the second period, Amherstburg only got 2 shots on goal, and in the third period, they only got 4 shots on goal for a 3-period total of 13 shots. In that game, Bennett Horrocks made 31 saves on 33 shots in the loss. In goal for Lakeshore, Hunter Welk made 13 saves for the shutout. Goals scored by Kyle Green in the first period for Lakeshore and Jordan Main 16 seconds into the third to make it a 2-0 game there. Moving on to more contests later on that day. Where was that? Oh yeah, this was a very interesting game up in Dresden. The Essex 73s took on the Dresden
Oh my
Kings
gosh.
on the road. It was a very interesting game to say the least. Essex was
Yeah.
up 2-1 after the first period with goals from Carter Dembinski and Connor Hunt. Colton Graham got them within 1 goal after the first period. Then in the second period, Dresden scored twice to take a 3-2 lead. Curtis Smith scored at 11:40. Then Colton Graham scored at 12-minute mark, so 2 goals in 20 seconds for Dresden to take a 3-2 lead. Andrew Baker would score his 5th goal of the year to make it 3-3 after the second period. And this one got very interesting because the second period of was full of penalties. At one point in the second period, Austin Guvermont ended up getting a instigator and a fighting major, but it seemed like it was given they were given only a one man fight because
Mm.
Colton Graham just got a 2 minute roughing penalty on that one. So Gouvermont gets tossed and gets a little bit of a suspension. After that, I think forget if it was 1 or 2 games, but he was off for there. Handful of penalties the rest of the second period there, but it was actually the third period that made it really interesting because Dustin Sweeney for the Dresden Kings scored 19 seconds in to give the Kings a 4-3 lead early in the third period, but then Essex made their comeback. Cale McCabe scores at the 3:52 mark for his sixth goal of the year. Wyatt Gowdy and Travis, don't you dare call me Revest Rive with the assist there. At 8:15 of the third period, Joey Gaudette scores unassisted to give the Essex 73s a lead that they would not surrender. Jack Lewis scores at 11:18 to further the lead, his seventh of the year. At 15:16, Dresden does get one back by Evan Reeve to cut the deficit, but then Essex scores two empty net goals, one by Marcus Levesque and one by Andrew Baker to round out the scoring there. The shots on goal in this game, Essex puts up 51 shots on goal. Brock Devlin made 20 saves on 25 shots in the win for Essex. Joseph Malinowski made 43 saves on 51 shots on goal in the loss for Dresden. Any thoughts on that game, my friend?
Yeah, just right, boy, a bit of a mess by Essex, but
Credit
the
credit to the Dresden Kings, man.
yeah, and I was gonna say credit to Joey Malinowski. He's always been a good goalie for Dresden. I remember his rookie season when I ran my Essex 73 stats and highlights page. He got voted as player of the game. I used to do little voting tabs, and
Yep.
people wrote in and said, "Nah, Dresden's goaltender, Dresden's goaltender." I think he faced 70 shots one night in Essex, and really special goalie, really kind-hearted individual as well. I've spoken with him before, so credit to
Good.
Joey. He played well.
All right, so we'll move on. On Saturday, the next day, the Blenheim King. What's my dog doing? Interrupting this
What
podcast?
the
How
dog
dare
doing?
she? Um, Blenheim, the Blenheim Blades took on the Walpole Island Wild and took home a 6-4 victory in that game. I believe it was their alumni game. They're celebrating 60 years in Blenheim. Blenheim put up 62 shots on goal and 62 to
Cool.
26 on Walpole there and end up with the 6-4 win. They scored 3 goals in the first period and 3 goals in the third to take home that victory.
62.
Parker Reese Parker made 56 saves on 62 shots in the loss for Walpole. Russell Vaughn made 22 saves on 26 shots against in the win for the Blades as they keep pace in the Stobbs division. The next day, though, this was the 22nd. No, sorry, the 23rd, pardon me. Making sure this is Blenheim. Yeah, that was it. So the 23rd, though, the Blenheim Blades then hosted the Lakeshore Canadiens on their home ice, and the Lakeshore
Ooh.
Canadiens just absolutely dominated this game. They won 7-1 in this contest. Lakeshore had outshot Blenheim 45-18 in 3 periods of play. After 2 periods of play, Tristan, Blenheim only had 6 shots on goal in the contest. A completely uncharacteristic game for the Blenheim Blades as they dropped this one. Jake Van Coyley had 31 saves on 37 shots, and Russell Vaughn came in for 14 minutes there and made 7 saves on 8 shots against there. Aiden Sullivan scores. Kyle Green, Dallas Kelly to give them a 3-0 lead after the first period. I was actually tuning into this game while I was taking my wife and daughter to a concert, and I was looking in. I'm like, oh my Lord, what is going on here? David
Yeah.
Brown scores the lone goal for the Blenheim Blades to make it 3-1, but Lucas Boudreau scores a few minutes after that in the second period to make it 4-1 after 2 periods of play. Then Aiden Sullivan scores twice in the third period to give him the hat trick. So he's got 12 goals as of that game. And then Lazar Dragicevic,
Lazar.
the laser, scores to make it a 7-1 victory there. Did that result surprise you, my friend? Because there's no other word to describe it. That was belt to ass. Crazy.
Yeah, it was a royal dismantling.
Yep.
Um, Canadians just proved I think they are the second best in the division, but I digress.
Yeah, you gotta show up, right? So good for Lakeshore, showing up and beating them there. Back-to-back games at home. I thought I would have seen a little bit of a different result. Looking for maybe a 1 or 2 goal game there, or maybe I was thinking that this game was gonna go overtime. But you know what? Lakeshore did a good job there, and they put
Yeah,
up a lot of shots there, and they limited a ton too. Limiting a team to 6 shots after 2 periods of play, you got to be doing something right.
they're they're just unbelievable when they want to be.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it really depends on Lakeshore. I found with them, it's their first period. If they have a good first period, they don't let it go the rest of the game. From what I've watched, and if they have a rough first period, it gets to them really easily.
Yeah.
The composure kind of goes down at a rapid pace. So,
hmm All right, let's move on. The next contest in the Stobbs division, Tuesday, November 25th, the Essex 73s host the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks. Essex did drop a game to Wheatley early on in the year, but that was not the case tonight. They skate away with a 6-1 victory on home ice. They outshoot the Sharks 33 to 16 in that game. It was 2-0 after the first period of play. Of course, you could hear Tristan and Brendan Jones on the call there. That was a fun one to listen to while I was on afternoons at the factory. Ethan
it's a good game.
O'Neill's, yeah, it was fun. No, it was good. The score is kind of misleading at 6-1, but it was a tight game. Ethan O'Neill scores at 10:20 of the first period, his fifth goal of the year. Then at 18:05, Travis, don't you dare call me Revest Rive scores his second goal of the year at 18:05. As I said, Jack Lewis and Andrew Baker on the assists. And then in the second period, another tight period. Both teams playing each other rather well. The shots on goal were 10-8 for Essex over Wheatley. Jack Lewis with the lone goal, his eighth of the year at 17:19 of the second, gives Essex a 3-0 lead after the second period. Then in the third period, Jackson for Chase Smith, and it seems like when he scores, it seems like that's when the tide turns for the Essex 73s. He
Yeah.
scores 15 seconds in uh, of the third period, his sixth goal of the year from Matheson and Connor Hunt to give them a 4-0 lead. Cale McCabe scores 4 minutes after that at 4:47, his seventh of the year. Kyle Blow does get a goal with 18:12 of the third period to break the shutout bid, but then
Oh,
Jack Lewis scores with 2 seconds remaining in the game to give Essex a 6-1 win. You guys were talking about it on the broadcast that this seems like anytime that a miss. Oh, sorry, this was Michael Sampson's first game.
yeah, Mike Sampson.
Yes, talk to us about this game and how Mike Sampson almost had a shutout in his opening game as a junior C player.
Yeah, well, Samps looked a little lost in the first period. He almost had one going off his foot like 5 seconds in. It was like a dump in, hopped off the boards, and he didn't know where it was.
hmm
But he is a massive individual,
So,
Michael
so what
Sampson.
happened? Was there an injury? Was someone sick? Why did he get called up? Or is he just
I'm not
didn't get a
positive.
chance?
Bert Castles just wasn't there. I'm not privy to anything more than that.
Okay.
I just know he wasn't available for that game. And Michael Sampson gets the start. He's been an AP all year. He's been skating a bit with the threes. He plays Riverside U18. Gets his debut. And you would think this guy's like 26 years old. He's 6'3" and 200 pounds and like 200 pounds of muscle. This kid is
Yeah.
jacked. Go look at his player of the game profile photo. The guy's nail gun. But yeah, with someone didn't pick up the D man, or sorry, someone didn't pick up the forechecker. Kyle Blow dances through and goes like roof daddy on poor Michael Sampson, and I felt so bad because I was thinking in my mind, shut out, shut out. Don't say it, Tristan. Don't do it. But I apparently can't even think it. And I'm sorry, Mikey, but not this time.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but he does play well in his first game there. He makes 16 saves in his junior C debut. Sorry, 15 saves on 16 shots in his junior C debut for the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks, Ethan Davis made 27 saves on 33 shots in the loss in that contest there. And then the next night, it was, of course, the Essex 73s always play on Tuesday nights. Do you know why that tradition started? Because I love it because it's early in the week. You get the game kind of out of the way, and you're kind of the only game in town that's going on there. I love the fact that the 73s play on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, so do I, but I don't know why that tradition started. Um, I'd have to imagine it's because there's no other events through, like you said,
100%.
throughout the week. There's other things going on. The later you get in the week, every other team seems to play Friday or Saturday.
Yep.
But 73s, it's unique. It's Tuesday nights in Essex. What else are you going to do than go to the rink and watch the 73s whack
Yep.
whoever's in town? So,
I remember listening to you a long time ago saying, well, there's only two things that are guaranteed on Tuesday nights in Essex. There's a 73s game, and Luke Shirk is going to take a penalty.
yeah, exactly.
That was a couple years ago, too, so that's funny.
Yeah.
The next night, Wednesday, November 26th, the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks host the Blenheim Blades, and this game went to overtime. This time, the Blades pick up the 4-3 win in overtime there. The Blades outshoot the Sharks 38-34. This is a tight game. 1-1 after the first period. Wheatley was up 3-1 after the second period, and then the Blenheim Blades stormed back to tie the game. Nelson DeConning scores his 10th goal of the year in the third period at
Yeah, that was a nice
7:23.
play. It was a
Yes.
dump in and bounced off the end boards, and Castles wasn't ready at all.
No, this is the Wheatley game.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of when we played Blenheim the week after. My apologies.
No, it's okay. So DeConning scores his 10th goal of the year to make it 3-2. Then Tyler Trelo scores his fourth goal of the year at 17-17 to send the game into overtime. And then who else but David Brown, their big signing in the offseason. He scores in overtime to give them the overtime win, assisted by Stephen Jacobs as well, another one of their key players on that team. Blenheim with a big 4-3 win there, and Wheatley with a tight contest against one of the top teams in the division there. So good on them. They pick up a big point in the standings there.
Yeah, they
Uh,
needed that for sure. I think Wheatley, they're kind of a dangerous team when they want to be. They have beaten Essex, so
yes, it's hard to describe, right? I don't like it. It's hard, like, because for a while there, they were struggling for a little bit, but they keep putting up solid performances like this. That's a tough team to play against in the playoffs. I know we're in December only, but hey, we're only 15, 16 games away from the end of the regular season. Like, it's not
yeah,
that
and they
hurry.
would as we stand now, they would be playing the Dresden or
Them and
no, they'd
Dresden
be
are
playing
tied.
Lakeshore. They'd be playing Lakeshore.
Yeah,
So
that'd be fun.
that would be a fun first round, as a matter of fact.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that was a 4-3 win for Blenheim over the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks. Two nights later, the Lakeshore Canadiens went on the road to take on the Dresden Kings. They pick up a 7-3 victory on the road over Dresden. Lakeshore went 2 for 4 on the power play. This was actually a tight game in shots on goal. Lakeshore had 42 to Dresden's 40. It was 1-1 after the first period, but in the second period is when Lakeshore kind of exploded. Colton Graham did score early in the second period to give Dresden a 2-1 lead. Then Noah Gudis, Michael Kopchuk, and Brandon LeBlanc all scored in the second period to give them a 4-2 lead after 2 periods of play. Cameron Graham scored to get Lakeshore within two. Yeah, two, right? That's math.
Cameron
Yeah, four.
Graham.
Yeah, sorry, within one. So it was
He's
4-3
quite
there.
the guy.
Yeah, Cameron Graham and Colton Graham. I'll talk about them in a little bit at the end of the segment because I believe it's Colton, Colton or Cameron. They're leading the division in points. So, um, sorry that I can't get that on my on my brain specifically right now, but we'll look that up in a moment. Yeah, Cameron scores to make it 4-3. 5 minutes into the third period, then Lakeshore closes the door with 3 goals in the third period. There, Aiden Sullivan with his 13th of the year, Evan Finneck with his third of the year at 14:38, and then Noah Gudis with his second of the game. Is it Gudis? Is that how I
I,
say it?
s- I, so Brendan Jones, my
Yes. Sorry. Is it
co-announcer says Gudis. I would say Judice, but
Judice? Okay. So if we,
that would be how I'd say it. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he got the empty net goal to round out the scoring there. That's his fourth of the year and second of the game. So obviously he had a good game there and picked up some big points. And we were talking about Michael Kopchuk in the last game, in the last podcast. He got the player of the month in the division for being the lead scorer, I believe, or just having a really good month. I thought that he was a forward, but he is in fact the defenseman, and he is leading the Lakeshore Canadiens in scoring.
Yeah, so it's actually so I did look up the pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you.
So it is pronounced it's a foreign name. It's actually Italian. It's Giudici.
Giudici.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
dash one for me.
in American English they just say Judas.
Okay, so Judas.
But
Okay,
it's
Giudici.
Giudici. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if anyone knows Noah and they want to tell us how they want him how they want us to say it, we'll gladly do so because
Yeah,
that's one of those fun
Judice
ones.
is the American Giudici. So apologies for the whole last game calling him Gudis. I just went along with it.
Yeah.
Jonesy, you got to take the fall on this one. But I was, for the record, I've said in the past, in my mind, I've always said Judas, but it's Giudici. So,
Giudici.
yeah, Noah Giudici. There you go.
Noah Giudici. So he had two goals there.
Yeah,
And
the
in a
Italian stallion, the Iron Horse from Bell River.
The Iron Horse. I love it.
Yeah,
So they pick up a big win over Dresden there on the Friday night. Going to Saturday, and if I'm not missing any other games in the division there, I don't believe so. Let's move on to Saturday. There's a lot of games going on in the division. Of course, Saturday night is a busy night in the
yeah,
hockey world.
very busy.
The Essex 73s traveled to Moortown to face Johnny Moortown and the Flags, and this was a very interesting game. Essex was up 3-0 after two periods of play. They were 2-0 after the first and 3-0 after the second period there,
Oh,
with goals from Andrew Baker at 11:18 of the first, Gabe Barrett with his third goal of the year at 18:34 of the first period. Andrew Baker scored again in the second period at 6:59 with assists to Jackson Fortier Smith and Jack Lewis. And then cue up the Moortown Flags comeback. Carson Crawford scores
that
at
kid.
2:20.
That kid is so good. I think he's the most underrated player in the division for sure.
Mm-hmm. He scores at 2:20, his 15th goal of the year, with assists to Mason Flett and Owen McDonald, who I looked up. He formerly played for the Sarnia Sting and the Leamington Flyers, so that's why his name stuck out to me earlier on because I remember
Yeah.
reading about that last year. Mitchell Stack scores his fifth goal of the year just a minute and a half later at 3:41 to cut the deficit down to one. Noah Waybrandt and Ryan Vidler with assists there. And then at 6:17 of the third period, Moortown completes the comeback to tie the game. Dylan Dupuis scores his seventh of the year with assists to Owen McDonald and Landon Marcy. That was on the power play, and that forced overtime. And then, if not for a fantastic play from the Essex 73's captain, Jackson Fortier Smith, this contest might have been a little different. But Jackson Fortier Smith with a nice move. He scores his seventh goal
Yeah, it was.
of the
Did you see
year.
it?
It was pretty nasty.
He ripped it bar down, and I'm not sure if his stick broke or what happened,
I'm
but
not
like
sure.
it almost looked like he shot it with one hand. He
Yeah.
lets it go, and then he's winds up with one stick on the hand. So either someone blocked it, there was someone diving in front. Either someone blocked it and it kind of stopped his grip and the puck ramped up, or I don't know. It was very weird looking goal, but it was beautiful move to cut in front. And yeah, they perfect shot puts Moortown to sleep. Thank goodness. John Chartrand again standing on his head in that game.
Yes, for sure. Johnny Chartrand, the all-time leader in wins for the Moortown Flags, made 44 saves on 48 shots, and Burke Castles for the Essex 73s made 18 saves on 21 shots in the win there. So Moortown picks up a point against Essex, but Essex eventually ends up with the win in overtime there. So that's their third overtime game of the year, and they are 2-1 in overtime contests. Another game going on in the Stobbs division on the Saturday night. The Dresden Kings traveled down to Amherstburg and they beat up on the Amherstburg Admirals 7-1.
Oh man.
Maybe feeling a little bit frustrated after dropping the game to Essex the night 2 nights before. Dresden goes up 6-0 after the 4-0 after the first period and 6-0 after the second. They went 3 for 8 on the power play, and Dresden actually got outshot in this game. Dresden only put up 28 shots on goal, and Amherstburg had 35, but Amherstburg was 0 for 6 on the power play in this game. They just could not make good on their opportunities. Mackenzie Anderson scores 2 goals for Dresden. Cameron Graham scores his 18th goal of the year at 6:03. Oh, Dresden scored 15 seconds into the hockey game. And then Mackenzie Anderson scores at 3:05 again to put them at 2-0. Cameron Graham at 6:03 to make it 3-0. McLean Norris at 14:35 to make it 4-0. Then Colton Graham at 6:21 of the second period makes it
Those guys are
5-0. And then
unbelievable.
and then Colton Graham at 16:53 scores his 17th of the year to make it 6-0 after 2 periods of play. Amherstburg would get a goal from Evan McPherson at 11:55 of the third period, but it was a little bit too late. Too little too late. That is his 4th goal of the year, though. McPherson played for Lakeshore, didn't he not?
Correct.
Yes. And then Justin Shepins scored at 16:14 to round out the scoring in a 7-1 win. Landon Dimitrov let in 3 goals on 6 shots in the first period, got pulled. Then they went with Bennett Horrocks for the next 33-56. He let in 3 goals on 12 shots. And then Dimitrov went back in net for the third period and stopped 9 of 10 shots in that game. So 7-1 loss or 7-1 win for the Dresden Kings there.
And it is Cameron that leads the league, by the way, with 41 points
Thank you very much.
in the division.
Yes, in the division. Of course, but there's another big name that's leading the entire league in scoring, and we're going to talk about that once this recap is finished. No other games in the division on the Saturday. On the Sunday, Amherstburg hosted the Moortown Flags, and they came away with a 4-1 victory there, a much needed victory after dropping the game the night before. Amherstburg outshot Moortown 39-28. A couple weeks earlier, Moortown came to Amherstburg and dropped them. I think it was 5-1 in that one. That's when you were talking about Crawford,
Yeah.
Connor Crawford,
Carson.
Carson, pardon me,
Yeah.
for being a fantastic player there. Amherstburg led 1-0 after the first period, and then Cale Marentate scored in 7:09 in the second period to give them a 2-0 lead. Jake Goudreau scored at 13:03 to give them a 3-0 lead before Carson Crawford scored at 17-minute mark for Moortown to make it 3-1 after 2 periods of play. Freddie McRoy scored at 14:05 to give the Amherstburg Admirals a 4-1 win in that one. In the win, Bennett Horrocks, former Essex 73, now Amherstburg Admiral after the trade with Jack Lewis, made 27 saves on 28 shots in the win. Ethan Dunbar was in goal for the Moortown Flags. He made 35 saves on 39 shots. Big win for Amherstburg after dropping a game the night before, for sure.
Yeah, they needed that one.
Big time. They needed that one for sure. So 4-1 win there. And now, isn't it wild? We're moving the calendar all the way to December, my friend.
I
It's
know.
already December.
Almost
And,
Christmas. It's almost here.
It's almost here.
Santa's coming. He's coming.
And we've only got 2 games left in the division here. And this is actually a very big one because on December 2nd, the Essex 73s hosted the Lakeshore Canadiens. And this was an interesting game. It was tight for the first 2 periods of play, and then some undisciplined play led to a 3-goal outburst in the third period for the 73s. The final score in this one is 5-0 for the Essex 73s, and that is their 12th win in a row. And they're playing some fantastic hockey right now. That's 12 wins in a row as of that overtime loss to Blenheim, I believe, wasn't it? A couple months ago?
Yeah.
So in the first period, we will recap this. In the first period, it was Marcus Levesque finishing off a 2-on-1 on a feed from Travis, don't you dare call me, Rive, with Luke Shirk picking up the secondary assist there. And this was an interesting one because Rive centered it, and it kind of went off of a leg, and there was kind of like a pause. There was really no goal call.
No, the ref's going like this. He's standing there behind the goal, and he goes like this. Just
He
like
waits
this
for his-
little
yeah.
motion for the other ref to come over. He doesn't go like this. He doesn't go, then wave the guy over just to confirm. He doesn't make any call. They're blowing the goal horn. They got the lights are going. Everyone's cheering, and we don't know. So they discuss and they give the goal to Levesque. I'm not sure if they were saying was it kicked in. Maybe I know it went off, I think, of Levesque's leg as he charged the net. It wasn't directly in off his stick, but yeah, 1-0 Essex.
Yeah, it's interesting. In that situation, like I know, Sean Hamlin, the referee. Like I've known him for years. I've refed with him back when I used to put the bands on, and I think he did the right thing there by not making a definitive call right off the bat. Because if you have to reverse it, you look like a dummy. I think he did the right thing by coming and conferring with his crew like they would do, like say in a baseball game or a basketball game, to say, hey, what did you see? I saw this. Did you also see this? Can we confirm that this is a goal? Yes, it is a goal. Did he kick it in? Yes. We don't have the value of replay at this level, right? So I thought it was obviously, it led to like a pregnant pause as like, oh, like what's going on? But
Right,
I
yeah.
feel like they ultimately handled that in the best way that they could at the
I didn't even
time.
think of it that way. Thank you for raising that point.
And I feel like later on in the game they also handled a lot of these situations in the right way as well, but we'll get into that as we go along. In the second period, Aiden Sullivan takes a tripping penalty at 2:12 of the second, and then Luke Shirk tips in a point shot from Gavin Gaudet to give Windsor to give the Essex 73s a 2-0 lead after the
I,
second period.
I rewatched that one, and I don't know. I think Shirky kind of sold it. I watched the replay
You
from
don't
my
think he
dad's
tipped it?
angle. It went off of a Lakeshore guy's stick.
Oh, okay.
Shirk, I think it flutters past Shirk's waist. I don't think he touches it, but he gives the big arm pump, and I'm like, no,
He
no,
pulled
Luke,
it.
that wasn't your stick. That would have been probably Owen Bentley or someone's stick up high,
Yeah.
and it fluttered in on Bo.
Because you
But
guys mentioned it that he had this stick, waist high, so he could have made contact with it.
right,
But like I watched it again earlier today as well because I wanted to, have a good analysis of this game. And I couldn't, I'm only watching it on my phone, so I couldn't see with definitive proof that it was tipped, but it was a good point shot from Gavin
it,
Gaudet.
it definitely hit a stick, but it was a Lakeshore stick way before it got to Shirk. Like it was up high.
Yeah.
It changed direction early, and I thought it went rain in after that, but whatever. Shirky, he always seems to score against the Habs.
Yeah, and so that one came at 3 minutes of the second period. That's Luke Shirk's ninth goal of the year. Gavin Gaudet with his ninth assist of the year. Noah Matheson, 25th assist of the year, and he would not be done yet in this game. That came on the power play. It was the first of a couple more power play goals that the Essex 73s would have in the third period. Let's talk about the second period here a little bit more because things kind of got off the rails a little bit. There's a lot of penalties in the second period here.
Yeah.
um Luke Shirk and Denver, uh well, I believe it's,
Blamier is how you say it.
Boimier. You could obviously you could say Boismer, but I believe it's pronounced Boimier or Boyer. They both get 10-minute misconducts at 9:23 of the second period. Neil Garvey and Aiden Sullivan both get penalties at the 10:06 mark. Marcus Levesque gets a roughing penalty. Then at 15:07, Austin Gouvermont gets a double minor for roughing
Yeah.
and slashing on the same play. There was a couple of times, Tristan, where in the first and second period that I thought, okay, Lakeshore's going to cash in here. They're going to, because they had some decent movement on their power play, but Burt Castle's
He
arguably
made
his
great saves.
his best
He
game
did
as a
really well.
73.
That's yeah, for sure.
And I just wanted to give him credit there because he made some incredible saves. And there was one, I believe it was in the first period there was one that I thought, okay, for sure, here we go, kind of a thing, and he made a big save. I don't think it wasn't the Dallas Kelly one because that was in the second period, or it was in the third period, I believe that breakaway was. But
Yeah.
we'll get further into that as well. At the end of the second period, Lazar Dragicevic and Ethan O'Neill get into it a little bit. They both get twos and tens for head contact and a misconduct there. So a little bit of the rough stuff after the end of the second period there. And then the third period started. And so Essex gets an early power play from after a slashing call by Von Troop. They go on the power play. They do not cash in, but at the 16, yeah, here it is. At the
6:14.
6:14 mark is when things just went off the wall. I'm not sure what happened, but Neil Garvey lost his mind a little bit and absolutely went after Austin Gouvermont, and he ends up getting a roughing minor, an instigator, a fighting major, a one-man fight, and a 10-minute misconduct and game misconduct. So sorry, not a 10-minute misconduct, just a game misconduct. So Essex ends up with I've never seen this before, a 9-minute power play.
You know what's funny? It should have been 11
It could have
because,
been, yes.
and here's why. Here's why. The week prior, Blenheim drew a penalty from Essex for face masking, which is a
Yes.
double minor.
Yes.
But face masking it wasn't roughing. If I've ever seen it, that's what Neil Garvey did. He grabbed the cage
He yanked his cage.
and was trying to pull the head off of the
Yeah.
shoulders of Austin Gouvermont. I don't know what transpired leading up to that, and I don't know Neil Garvey personally, but I do know that he can get pretty hot pretty quick sometimes.
Yeah. And
And
like and I'm objective, like I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care who wins these games, but like when I saw that happened, I was like, "Oh my Lord, this guy lost his marbles for a moment there."
he
And
was
he hurt
mad.
his team when his
It
team
was
was
two
only down,
nothing.
it was 2-0. It was a tight game. And this
Through the window.
yeah, and I know what you thought, what you're thinking. Yeah. So it could have been either a 2-minute face mask or because we've seen 4-minute face masks as well.
Yeah, they throw the four in there, and now it's 11.
Yeah. So he ends up
Which
with the roughing, the instigator, and the fighting major. So a one-man fight. Gouvermont, it would not be the last time that he got involved in some rough stuff later on in the game. But it seems like anytime there's a little bit of trouble going on, it's either one of two guys for the Essex 73s that are getting involved. And one's Austin Gouvermont and one is Luke Shirk.
yeah. But surprisingly, Shirky this year only has 10 penalty minutes.
No,
So,
he has tightened it up. He's been very
yeah.
good for them this year. And so the Essex 73s go to work, and at 7:22 of the third period there, Connor Hunt scores his 13th of the year with assists from Noah Matheson and Luke Shirk to give the
Oh, he
Essex
wired it.
73s a 3-0 lead. And that was a nice play. He waited for the appropriate amount of time. He waited for the defenseman to come and challenge. He used the defenseman to put a screen on,
Yeah.
and he ripped it top corner there for a very nice goal.
Yeah, he pulled it to the inside hip and just, yeah, he pulled the trigger. Textbook. He
Hmm.
didn't get to where he is just being okay. You know, he played 3 years in the OJHL. This guy knows how to score goals. He went high blocker on Porosky, and Porosky didn't even have a chance.
Yeah, it was a crispy goal, as our good man Anthony Gaudette would say, the king of crispy. 5 minutes later, almost 5 minutes later, they're still on the same power play, and at 12:10, Jackson
This time it's a
Fortier.
5-on-3 though.
Yes, this was a 5-on-3. Thank you very much. Because who was it that got the penalty there? Was that Boimier? Yeah, it was Boimier who got the tripping penalty. This was after Landon Prince and Austin Gouvermont got tangled up after Gouvermont. I think he interfered with the goaltender
Yeah.
with Porosky, ran into Porosky. Landon Prince uh, gives him some rough stuff for that. You know what? Well, I'll take that. You know, take it a wash. But they gave Landon Prince a 10-minute misconduct as well, so his night was done. And Gouvermont didn't get thrown out, but he did go to the locker room. I don't know if his cage
His,
got ripped off or
I know what happened. His helmet broke.
okay.
He did come back. They told him we're gonna time it. You have to get back in 2 minutes, and pretty much I think he sat there until that 2 minutes was up and went back.
Okay. So thank you very much for getting that.
Unless let me just check something
Okay. So because that was
because
not the end of the
that could
game.
have been his third stick infraction. Remember? That's a
Yes.
thing. If you could get
So,
suspended if you don't
but it didn't. There was no like
slashing.
misconduct code. So he had one slash. He had one roughing penalty.
Right, but
And then,
here's what I'm saying. If he already has a couple goalie interferences this year,
oh, that's right. I
if
forgot about that
if he has a
rule.
third one, he could leave. So maybe that's what that was, and they told him because I don't recall seeing him for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I don't because I rewatched the game earlier today, and I didn't. There wasn't a mention of him entering the game from the locker room area as
Unless he
well
could
either.
elect to
take a seat.
Can you do that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. But
If
I
his
just wanted to
helmet
make
broke with
sure.
like 4 minutes left and he's like, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because that happened at 9:40, so there was still 10 minutes left in the third period. So that's why I just wanted to kind of chat with you about that.
Yeah.
But that was not the so that Jackson Fortier Smith goal was very nice. Tic tac toe. Anytime those three, Jackson Fortier Smith, Connor Hunt, and Noah Matheson, kind of team up, it's a crispy play.
Yeah.
And but that was not the last game. That was not the last goal of the game there. That Jackson Fortier Smith goal was 5 seconds after Denver Boimier got a tripping penalty as well. So it was literally right off the draw, tic tac toe, and Jackson Fortier Smith scored on that one to make it 4-0. And then rounding out the scoring at 16:04, Noah Matheson, his eighth goal of the year. He ended up with 1 goal and 3 assists in this game, and it was Essex's fourth power play goal of the game to make it a 5-0 win there. And he just finished off a beautiful backdoor pass from Jackson Fortier Smith and Willie Claridge with the secondary assist on that one
Really?
to round out the scoring. Big Willie style, William Claridge to round out the scoring 5-0. The final shots on goal. Burt Castles with a 27 save shutout, his first as a member of the Essex 73s,
The
and
Burke
Bo
Wall.
Porosky made 36 saves on 40 shots against in the loss there. Essex ends up going 4 for 9 on the power play, and Lakeshore 0 for 5 with the man advantage in this game. Your thoughts, Tristan?
73s. I don't know. The concern doesn't seem to be there as much just for me, even announcing those games.
Yeah.
The threat seems to be neutralized when it comes to Essex and Lakeshore. 73s are 3-0. Mind you, all three have been on home ice.
Yep.
So we'll see if that tilts in the second half of the season. And I'm not writing off the Canadiens by any means. They're they're third in the division for a reason, and they've won, two Schmaltz Cups in recent history. So they're
For sure.
certainly going to hang around.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the games in Lakeshore, the next three games of this season series go at the Atlas Tube
And
Center.
what's our last game to wrap up?
Our last game is on the day of this recording. It just finished up a little while ago. The Moortown Flags traveled to face the Wheatley Olmsted Sharks in Wheatley, and the Moortown Flags took home a 4-3 victory there. Wheatley was up 2-1 after the first period after goals from Kyle Blow and Jesse Mercier. Carson Crawford scored in between those two, his 17th of the year, for a 2-1 deficit after one. Dylan Dupuis scored his eighth goal of the year at 4:10 of the second period to tie it up. And then Jace Dupuis scores 2 goals in the third period to give them a 4-2 lead. Josh
He's so
Blow
good.
scores his second of, oh, sorry, this was Josh Blow, not Kyle Blow,
Oh,
scoring at 18:01 to make it a 4-3 final there. Adam Flanagan makes 30 saves on 34 shots in the loss, and Ethan Dunbar makes 27 saves on 30 shot attempts in the win for Moortown, pardon me. So that's a big couple week recap, but there's some big games there. So and every game in this division is important. So I hope you guys appreciate the attention to detail that we give on this show. The standings as of December 3rd are this: the Walpole Island Wild are eighth place, 1-22-1 with 3 points. Seventh place, Amherstburg Admirals, 18 points with an 8-12-2 record, including 3 overtime wins. They actually lead the division in overtime wins, the Amherstburg Admirals there. So
there you go.
in sixth place, Wheatley Olmsted Sharks, 10-14-1 for 21 points, tying them with the Dresden Kings, although Wheatley does have 2 extra games played. Dresden, 23 games played, 9 wins, 11 losses, 3 OT losses for 21 points. In fourth, the Moortown Flags, 23 games played, 13 wins, 9 losses, 1 OT loss, 27 points. They also have 2 overtime wins. The Lakeshore Canadiens sitting in third place with 23 games played, 16 wins, 6 losses, and 1 OT loss, 33 points. And second place, Blenheim Blades, 24 games played, 17 wins, 6 losses, 1 OT loss, and 2 overtime wins for 35 points. And in first place, the Essex 73s, riding a 12-game winning streak. They are 23-1 with the one overtime loss and two overtime wins. Those two overtime wins are over the Moortown Flags and the Blenheim Blades, and they have 41 points, and they are a plus 66 in goal differential, and they
Look
are
here.
the lowest penalized team in the division. So
Hey,
that
that's a huge change from 4 years ago. Holy smokes.
yeah,
That's
I wanted to
incredible.
say that like I really like this version of Essex. Not so like compared to last year, I think this one there's just something there just seems to be a little bit more and like the Essex team last year, obviously they won a lot of games and they ended up winning the division. There's something different about this team. I really think that the addition of Connor Hunt, Jackson Forte Smith, and Noah Matheson has added a level of what's the right word I want to say? Like they just play everything is smooth. Everything is it just seems really
Like class.
crisp, crispy.
Yeah.
We use we use that word all the time. It's crisp. There's just a lot of they just play the right way.
Yeah.
And not that the team last year did not, but when you add arguably the best defenseman in the division to your team and arguably the two best forwards in the division to your team from Chatham, hey, you're going to be a really solid squad. I think Connor Hunt is silky smooth with it. He can turn it off and on when he wants to. Jackson Forte Smith is absolutely fantastic on the back end for Essex. That's why he's got the C. And Noah Matheson is an apple tree. This guy can just dish it out to anybody. And you know what? He can even give you guys a no look Spinsky overtime winner when you guys need it too. So Essex is up 40 is up by 6 points in the division over Blenheim, and I can't wait for the next group of games.
I'll
Obviously,
uh I'll add as just kind of a footnote
yep,
to the end of that PJHL discussion. The league leader in points, he's
yes,
only got 18 games played. Alex McGilvery, 50 points in 18 games.
unreal. Hanover, what a
Yeah,
wagon.
21 goals. Think about that. That's freak.
And there's a
He's a
bunch of other,
Schmelz Cup champion. So,
yeah, and there's a bunch of other players with 45 plus points as well. So the top end of the league and talent is very talented.
yeah, Cameron Graham's up there. He's in top five of scoring, I believe.
As of this recording, he has 41 points. Cameron Graham has
Oh, maybe
18
not.
goals and 23 assists. He's 11th. He's
11th,
tied for
okay.
10th in the league. But like all the guys in the top 10 of the league have over 40 points. Like it's pretty silly.
Yeah,
Um,
they're dominant.
for, so Cameron has 41 points and Colton has 38 points. So what do you think that what do you think they talk about over the dinner table? It's like, hey, but I got a couple extra more points than you do, buddy. I
Cam
think
will
that's
always be
awesome.
big brother.
That's right. For the other high scorers in the division, Hunter McGilvery, that's not the same spelling of the name though, is 35 points for Glanbrook. And former Windsor Spitfire product in LaSalle Viper, Wiley Burkett has a
Riley
30,
Burkett? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
has 35 points in 20 games for Hanover as well.
How did they get him? I
Yeah,
won't ask. Never mind.
yeah, we'll get into that another day. The
That's
next highest
insane.
scorer besides the Graham brothers in Dresden is Noah Matheson. 8 goals and 27 assists for 37 points. He is tied for
Connor
32nd.
Connor Hunt's got to be higher than that.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
missed him. Yeah, 21. He's the 21st in the league. Connor Hunt, I saw he was right at the top of the second page. I apologize, Connor.
No, 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 you're
13
good.
goals, 24 assists for 37 points. Just after him in 35 points is Noah Matheson, 8 goals and 27 assists as well. And that is the leading scorers in the Stobbs division. I'll go one page more just so I can be a balanced and fair journalist and broadcaster. Michael Kopchuk from the Lakeshore Canadiens is the next highest scoring player in the division, number 47 in the league. He has 31 points on 11 goals and 20 assists as a defenseman. So he is absolutely ripping it up as a D man in the league here. I want to make sure. So, yeah, a guy named Connor Thompson Dick for Niagara has 37 points. And that's it. So Kopchuk's the second highest scoring defenseman in the division there. Your thoughts on the PJHL wrap up before we go to bed, my man? Not together. That would be weird.
No, no. No, but uh yeah, 73 is right where they should be. And the rest of the division, shaping up for a good second half here and a good look for the playoffs. Another thing that's cool to make note of is the teams have switched their darks and lights for the home and away.
Okay.
So light jerseys will now be home for the second half of the season. So that's cool to
Perfect.
see the new threes uniform. Yep.
Beautiful. The next highest scorer in the division, sorry, I don't want to leave any Moretown flags out there. They're Jace Dupuis, is number 52 in the league, 23 games played, 16 goals, and 14 assists. So he's leading the way for the Flags, who are, you never know. They could make.
They've got just enough juice to hang around.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that statement. Kyle Green, also for Lakeshore, has 15 goals and 13 assists for 28 points. Anything else that Oh yeah, Stefan Jacobs has 10 goals and 18 assists for Blenheim. He's number 65 in the league there. Is there anything else, sir, that you would like to add?
That's all.
Perfect. All right, that does it for this episode of the Hat-Trick Hockey Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. We spoke about the GoFundMe link for the young man,
Cullen.
Cullen, pardon me. Thank you very much. It's been a long good show. Cullen, who's fighting leukemia. If you can, please donate to that. Obviously, there's been a lot that has been donated. If you can't donate, please share. Please share that link and help a family in need, because they could use all the help that they could get right now as their young boy battles leukemia. He's 9 years old. Follow us on our social media channels. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you visit the merchandise link if you guys want some HTH merch for the holiday season. And make sure that you tell a friend and tell them about the Hat-Trick Hockey Podcast. And if you think that's something that they want to listen to, we appreciate all the support that you guys give us. And of course, support our sponsors because they support us. Use your promo code HTH Podcast to get 20% off your order with biosteel.ca. And of course, use the same promo code HTH Podcast to get 10% off your order with Howie's Hockey Tape. From all of us at the Hat-Trick Hockey Podcast, thanks for tuning in. For Brett and Tristan, we're saying so long and good night from the Hat-Trick Hockey Podcast. Good night.
I've lost my fight with time. My number's up and up the line. I gaze at the darkness, so empty, just looking for the light. Shout for help, but no one's there. Need a guiding hand, someone who cares. All alone in the darkness, I've realized for the first time I am scared. If I could do it all again, if I had one more chance, my friend, I would rewrite all my wrongs. I would find where I belong. I got lost